Marksman Daily presents C-Suite Conversations. Hello viewers and welcome to another episode of C-Suite Conversations. With me is Naina Hiranandani for what I believe will be a very revealing, a very fun, a very freewheeling conversation. Naina, thank you for being here with us on this episode of C-Suite Conversations.
Thank you for having me.
So Naina, you've had a stint as a journalist. How have those experiences of yours shaped the way in which you view and navigate human experiences?
So I think when you are a journalist, you're essentially telling stories of some kind, right? So you're scouting down on a certain topic or looking at people of relevance, you're seeing what are trends, you're relentless also in your pursuit, right? And I think so much of it applies to matchmaking because when you meet somebody, you obviously don't take things at face value. You want to sort of dig deeper. You want to also penetrate into their mind, right? How are they thinking? What are they doing? What are they seeing? How are they reacting to things? And I think for the lack of a less professional term, but you're sussing someone out.
Yeah.
You know, you're kind of like, I don't believe this person.
You're like those 50s gazetted reporters or investigators. I got to get this whole story.
Yeah. Because I think the world is such, right? Where you always, we can always think that there is the best of someone out there, but we also have to learn to question. You should question everything. So I think the ease of working with people, talking to them, looking at also what makes them a story as such, right? Because when we're matchmaking, we're not just saying person A, meet person B who lives 5 minutes away from your house and also works in the same corporate. It's really about, hey, this is what he or she brings to the table. So I think they're very ironically similar worlds.
So human relationships, of course, lie at the heart of everything that Sirf Coffee does. Is there any life lesson that you've got from your experience at Sirf Coffee about your personal, your professional relationships?
So the one thing I've learned across my 15-year-old journey is you can listen to people, but don't actually listen to them.
Okay.
Right? So they'll give you a wish list or a checklist and say, this is what I want, work within this mandate. And you're not a bank, right? Or you're not a mutual fund.
Correct.
You're looking at people. And so if 2 or 3 things stand out, but you feel overall that they will really match or they're a good fit or they should definitely go out for a coffee, that's when you push, right? So I think I've learned to question what's been told to us and also not really take it as this holy grail where if we don't conform, because some professions are like that, right? It's very by the book. But I think matchmaking is where you learn to sort of, there's this gray area that you need to master really. But only if you feel very strongly, about something. So rather than I think just skill, it's a lot of intuition.
Yes.
Right? And maybe intuition is not needed in every profession. But I think in this, it's just you have to have your ear to the ground. You have to really listen. You have to also hone your own skills. So I think that's been, a good way to learn. And I've also learned that anything can happen over a coffee or a drink.
Yeah.
So always take that chance if you can.
So you guys have been brewing for about 15 years now, and AI and tech are taking center stage, preoccupying so much of our lives. How do you see the next 15 years playing out?
So I think AI has penetrated dating in a very strong way, right? The algo, game is everywhere. Where as founders, we're approached almost every 3 days by someone who's building something in the dating space using technology. And they're like, can I have your insight? Can I have 15 minutes of your time? So it's literally a new dating app a week being launched. People think it's trendy to build a product, put it out into the market. I think the current user is fatigued, right? There are so many similar models going around. There's a lot of, this is different, because of this. And then if you see the nuance, it's actually very, very minute. The app that came out with women making the first move, unfortunately ended up being in a position where no one was making the first move. And they had to try other models such as live events or, meetups in real life for people to engage again.
True.
So I think AI, I have no doubt that it's being harnessed at a crazy, unimaginable speed. because I can see it, right?
Yeah.
In the little things that we're doing, we're relying a lot more on AI. But I do think you still need a human being to encapsulate a lot of parts of a relationship, right? So it's funny you brought this up, but in office the other day, we were talking about therapy, right? And that's another
great space.
Yeah, so a lot of AI, therapy companies are like popping up, or you're talking to an online therapist, which is powered by an algo, but some of them are really good. Like, you can't tell that this is not a human being, right? I would just be very wary of the risks that run with, like, so I also read in the same study that they were not able to identify someone who was suicidal. They were just giving advice, right?
Wow.
Like,
that's where that human touch comes into play.
Because you have cues, right? So when you're like talking to me, I'm reading your body language, I'm making eye contact. Or let's say you were single and looking to get on Sirf Coffee, and then 5 years ago you had a very traumatic relationship experience through your own accord. You need to tell a human being about that, so we have some context. How do we navigate that? And I think a lot of people operate from fear. So you need a matchmaker sometimes to tell you, like, it's okay to do this. It's okay to try this. Because when you're on your own, you are controlling your own user journey, right? So if I'm on a dating app, I can use 5 of them, be online all day, swipe right on 60 people, and then I'm left with no connection. Then I go into this black hole, right, of depression, saying no good people are out there. So then I delete them. And then after a month, I feel lonely.
It's a vicious cycle.
It's a chicken and egg situation, right? So technology has sort of disrupted the game quite a bit. I think we should use technology the right way. Like, we sort of embrace it when it comes to connecting people, right? Someone in Sweden is going out on a date with someone in Singapore. Get on a video call. Use technology. But should you be, using it to just score on your phone? You can do it for a dopamine hit, for a minute sort of, that sensation of feeling wanted and loved. But you just realize that there's no one there, right? There's no one actually there on the other side.
So I'm sure that you've got a lot of tales to tell from your time at Sirf Coffee. Tales that are amusing, tales that are memorable, tales that are quirky. What are some of your top 2, 3 funniest or most memorable moments from your tenure at Sirf Coffee?
So I think we really, like, back in the day, 10 years ago, it was a lot of, there was Skype in fashion, right? Where people didn't even FaceTime as much, literally 10, 15 years ago. So we used to do a lot of these international dates over Skype, where you were given like a login and a time, and you had to. So I remember we set up this lovely person from Gurgaon with this guy in Germany. He was in Munich. And he was working with a big automobile company. No surprise, that hails, that is the German mascot of great engineering. She was working with a global organization here. And we connected them, and it was so funny because after the first date, this guy was totally smitten. Like, he's just like, I really like her. I'll come to Delhi to meet her often, and she's just like, this person is too vanilla, it's just like, oh my, they're so nice. Like, where's the bad boy, badmash kind of vibe? And so I'm like, okay, well, but he is still a nice guy, so why don't you keep the door open, right? Instead of writing it off. And then a couple of months go by, and next thing I know, they have this amazing Bengali Punjabi wedding. Things have fallen into place.
In a couple of months?
In a couple of months.
Okay, I did not see that coming.
Yeah. So they got really attached to each other. So one of her friends then came to Sirf Coffee saying, my friend found success on this. And now she talks about this guy like he's the best thing since sliced bread. So they have a baby now. Like, I received a birth announcement just recently, which I thought was very cool. So I love the fact that it's a journey, right? Like, someone from when they're single to like when they're coupled up, and then, you actually have a relationship above and beyond, right? Like, there was a couple that met on a date in New York. He liked her. She was like, I don't know. It seems to be, it's not a trend from all the stories I'm telling you, but she was just like, I don't know, let's see. And then it turns out they were taking a flight from New York to India.
Stop it. That's straight out of a rom-com.
They met on the flight on their own. Like,
No way.
he's at the airport, she's at the airport. It was initially awkward because it's like, hey, I went on a date with you. Or aapne na bola.
Oh, wow.
Right? But it was, it was fine. But they're just like, look, let's be adults. Again, something I love about the platform is that rejection is not like do or die. And we don't call it rejection, right? Everyone's a great person. Just because they're not the idea of what we're looking for doesn't make them a bad match.
Yeah.
So they start talking. They're at the, that board waiting lounge where they're just okay, I know you, get chatting. Then they board the plane. Then they tell the air hostess, that's my seat, but we want to sit together. So, can we just... So she says, fine. So they're sitting next to each other and for 13 hours, non-stop yapping, like talking to each other, where it came to a point where another person from cabin crew came up to them and said, well, how long have you been together? You're so cute. And they're just like, this is like, what, some second date that's happening, And then they dated for a bit after that. They did not end up with each other in the end, but I thought that was insane.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Life
actually like that's a
ways.
Netflix movie in the making.
100%.
Yeah.
So since we're talking about tech, Naina, the thing is that I keep on fantasizing about building a time machine and going back in time. If you could build a time machine, and could go back in time to a younger Naina, give her some dating advice, life advice, what would that be?
Oh yeah, I think I really needed dating advice back then, because if I look back and be objective, I think I was actually pretty cocky. So I'd go on dates and be like, am I too good to date you? Kind of vibe. Okay. So I think my learning to myself would be like, stay humble, stay calm. But then that's the beauty of youth, right? Like, you're on a high, right? And it's not like an arrogant kind of high where it comes from nothing. It's just, you've been with certain people. You feel invincible. Yes, right? And I think it's this delusion of positivity that we have where...
The kids call it delulu these days.
Yeah. Like, when I joined journalism, it was because you think you can change the world, right? Or like make an impact or do something. And I had those experiences, right? I met really interesting people. I was reporting on ground. It was like the Indian Express, which is not like a fun, frivolous newspaper, right? Learn things the hard way. So I had, experienced this curve of like success, and then I worked with a fashion magazine, met really popular people around the world who are on our covers and stuff. So you're just like this, I'm the shit kind of, vibe. But if I were to look back, I would be like, just maybe listen more, or like, I think that's pretty much it. But no regrets, right? It's just, you don't regret anything, because at that point, like, I don't believe in the concept. At that given point, you did what you said you thought was right.
Absolutely.
Right? Whether it was limited information or unlimited information. And I think if I was going to give advice to my really younger self, like at 2021, would be like, this is not the love of your life for sure. It's just the first person you're really into, and you'll get over it. So I think,
Naina, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you. You got all these tales straight from meet cutes and so much more. And the human touch that still stays strong even in this day and age of technology. Thank you for chatting with us and being here with us in this episode of C-Suite Conversations.
Thank you so much.
In the words of Hadaway, what is love? But if you ask Naina Hiranandani, love is as much about expressing yourself, expressing your individuality, as it is about finding yourself. I hope you enjoyed this episode of C-Suite Conversations, and I'll see you in the next one.